Okay, welcome back to 2S, the Horror Quarters podcast.
Yes.
We are welcoming back our good friends Vito and Spawn.
Yes.
And then good friend of mine who I've met over the years at Monsterpalooza and a couple other conventions, Corey.
Hi everybody.
Thanks for coming out, Corey.
Thanks for bringing me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So we're here to go over the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Break down the Texas Chain, absolutely.
Franchise. So
big fan of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it at you guys.
Yeah,
and
no,
we'll
Texas
see what
Chain
happens.
has been one of my favorite franchises, even though the timeline's like super schizophrenic. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. The timeline's super schizophrenic, and
Right.
I get it, but my early memories of Texas Chainsaw is the good old days, like in the video store. Like to rent Texas Chain, it was like kind of like a rite of passage, like Faces of Death. Like Texas Chain, Faces of Death were like the real ones, the real horror. They were like that we, us 80s
that was a
kids
benchmark.
Thought were real. So when it was like a rite of passage, so to speak. Oh, I've rented Texas Chain. I've seen Texas Chain. Like I think back when I first saw Texas Chain was at this video store in Queens. I think it was on Bell Boulevard in Queens on 73rd.
Yeah.
And it's called Video Zone. And that was my favorite of all the mom and pop shops in the 80s. That spot in Queens was my fucking favorite because it had the best wrestling. Because I'm a big wrestling fanatic, so it had the best wrestling videos. Like, I mean, it was a wall of wrestling videos from NWA, AWA, which was hard to find, and WWF, of course, their Coliseum video. And then they had the immaculate horror section. And so there was a place in Groton, Connecticut, where I lived at in Connecticut. It had a good wrestling section. Oh no, I'm sorry, good horror section. And then there was a place in the Bronx where I lived at by my grandma's house off of Ogden, had a good wrestling section. But this place was that perfect hybrid. It had the best horror and the best wrestling section. So this was my favorite go-to. And I remember our family rented Texas Chain. It was me, my cousin, my grandpa's house, rest in peace to my gramps, and then we rented it, and it was like so real, so grainy, and I felt like I was watching a snuff film when I first saw it. Like that, those are my earliest memories of Texas Chain 1. What about you, Vito?
Similar to Spawn here, except for my video store was at the local Albertsons. For those of you who don't know, you get your free cookie when you were little in the 80s. And then you go get your fried chicken and your soft baked French bread. And then right there by the exit was a video store. So when Pops would go get lunch and I'd be chewing on my cookie, I'd be in there in the horror section of the video store inside Albertsons. And I too would be immaculated with the Texas Chainsaw videotape. Now, did Pops rent it for me? Sadly, no. So I didn't get a chance to see it till I was a little bit older on cable, but I would sit there and stare at that cover
Texas
for hours.
Chain 1 was on cable back in the day? Because I don't remember 1 being on cable.
Back in the 90s.
Okay. Oh, 90s, okay.
Back in the 90s, but I would sit there and just stare at the cover, and in your mind just make up your own story based on a fucking cover.
Right.
And it served me well until I saw the real deal. And you know what? I agree with you. There was a movie called Summer School, you see, with Mark Harmon?
Yes.
Where even Texas Chainsaw is what you have to see.
Right.
Before you see anything else.
Right.
And that movie did not let me down. I agree with you. This documentary style, the direction was very documentary-like. The intensity, the insanity.
Yep. When did you see it, Corey?
Okay, like you guys, my first experience was on home video. Back home in Wilmington, Delaware, there was a place called Video Frequency, and they were a mom and pop chain, and they were into the game at least 4 years before Blockbuster came onto the scene. And we had gotten our first VCR, and I think I was around about 13. Picked it up, and I was just blown away by it. I mean, when it comes to the horror icons, the two that have always scared me the most has been Michael Myers and Leatherface. Freddy and Jason, not so much, but everyone has their own that they go to.
Yep.
I will say though too, this movie's legacy, it's really interesting because it's, when you look at the big franchises, it's below Halloween, Elm Street, and Friday, but I think it's above. And I even say it's kind of below Saw, but it's above Hellraiser and Phantasm. And it's not throwing any shade against those because those are great franchises in their own selves. But there are people out here that love this franchise. I mean, I'm talking about big people. From what I remember, Spielberg is a big fan of it. That's why he wanted to work with Toby on Poltergeist. Also, too. If you guys haven't seen it yet, there's a wonderful horror movie in the theaters right now called X by Ty West, I think.
I'm looking for that one. I'm
a big fan of that guy.
Ty, if you're listening, man, kudos to you. X is a love letter to Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right.
You could tell this guy loves what Tobe Hooper did. It is such a love letter. It's not. It's a creepy movie. It's not really scary in a sense of jump scares, but
Right.
it's a very creepy and very unsettling movie. In a way,
and
like
that's his style.
Just like Texas Chainsaw.
Yes.
Well, no, I was
and
gonna
it's so beautifully shot. I mean, I can't wait to see the next thing that Ty West does. I'm not trying to go off the subject, but if you're a Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan, you owe it to yourself to go see X.
I've been wanting to see that. What about you, Iron Mike? When did you first see Texas?
I was young. I
74?
remember seeing it. I couldn't even call an age on it. I don't know, maybe 11, 12. I don't even know when it was. But I remember it was unsettling. That was a good word that you used there, because especially the kills with the sledgehammer, whatever he had.
Right.
Yes.
It wasn't as beautiful as, like a
Later on.
machete or like a butcher knife that you're kind of used to in these movies. That, to me, was more real life. Like,
Right.
That's what made it
you know what
so
I mean?
unsettling. Like, it was,
Yeah.
because the way it was shot like a documentary, you said it felt like a snuff film,
Sure.
and it was more realistic. Like, one blow's not going to kill you. She's there suffering. You know what I mean?
Shaken,
Yeah. Like that opening scene when you first see Leatherface. There's no music,
No music.
warning,
No
no
music.
nothing.
Right.
Just that sound
opens
bite, though.
He just opens the
Right.
He just opens that silver gate and just whacks through.
Yeah.
Kirk, I think it was.
Yeah, Kirk. I think Kirk was the first one to get it.
Yep.
I was going to say too. Going back to the influence of this movie, even in animation, I don't know if people realize or not. Were any of you fans of Batman the animated series from
Oh,
the
of course,
90s?
the biggest.
Okay, so now remember when it first came on Fox?
Right.
And you had the animated series in its blue and gray costume, and then towards the mid to late '90s, they had the Kids WB on Saturday morning.
Right,
And they had
when they did Batman and Robin.
they had Superman the animated series.
Right.
Well, what they did was Bruce Timm was asked to do another season of Batman to go along with Superman. So what they did was, to separate it from the original episodes that came on Fox, they redesigned a lot of the characters.
Right. Joker looked different. Scarecrow looked
One
different.
and that's one of the biggest ones was Scarecrow.
Yeah.
And they said, because I listened to the commentary, they were inspired by Leatherface to redesign the Scarecrow in Batman animated series. And if you can pull up and Batman the animated series Scarecrow version 2, you'll see it looks like they were looking at the Gunnar Hansen when it's really creepy looking for a kids.
Yeah, no, it's a great
for
show.
a kids cartoon too. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, even
I used to watch it I was like 19, 20 years old.
I mean, too. I was in my 20s, love it, and that version is even more unsettling than Cillian Murphy's. Not because I love them, that version from Bale and from Christopher Nolan, but the animated series with the noose, the rope around his neck and everything, and that
I love that
big
stuff.
long hat. Oh man, I was like, you guys were allowed to get away with this on a kids cartoon. It's like, so this movie's influence, it's still out there. People love this film, and it was just a few years ago. Wasn't it indoctrinated into the American Film Institute? It's considered a national treasure. I forgot the exact name, but every year they pick a certain amount of films. I'm pretty sure Texas is in that.
I
would
could definitely see so.
I would have to look that up. I'm surprised only because I know that was funded by, I believe I'm not wrong, it was produced by Brian Stin Production, which was basically funded by the
mob.
Mafia. And it was so low budget that the actors had to take a deal to get X amount of points. Like, after everything was paid for, they were supposed to get paid, and based on the documentaries that I seen, they still yet to have gotten paid.
Well, nobody knows how much that movie made, because
Yes.
here's the thing. Like,
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, was it a giant? Was it a success? Was it a
nobody
word of mouth?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows
because the money. Yeah, they were taking so much money. I mean, theoretically, this film may have made more than Halloween or even Blair Witch as an independent horror
numbers
movie.
will never-
But we'll never know.
because the way it was dealt with. And I believe Brian Stin also did some porn films too. It was just money funded by the mob, and so none of the books were accurate. So we'll never know exactly how
Is
much.
that why a lot of streaming platforms have it? Because a lot of times, they'll get the rights of a certain movie, but it's on Shudder, it's on Tubi. Texas Chain's like all over the place.
Hard to say. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Kim Henkel and I do believe Tobe Hooper, when he was alive, still had some producer credit in it. So they were still able to have some rights to it, but don't quote me on it. I may be wrong in that. But when it comes to the rights, it's hard to say. It's been put up by many different companies. I don't know if it fell into public domain or
Right, that's what I'm saying. Public domain.
I thought it was under New Line, the original. Not the Platinum Dune ones, but even I think that's under New Line also. I think the whole franchise.
Unless New Line's bought it, I can't comment one way or another. But it was basically Brian Sting was independent, so who's hard to say how the rights of that would work in terms of salesmanship of that, because again, the owners of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But here's the thing with this movie, though. I always say, and I still feel this way, it's the most self-defeating horror movie ever made. Because people can't get past the title. You still got people today that will not watch this movie because they've already built that movie up in their head. They think that it's a bloodbath and it's intestines.
Right.
And I try to tell people, you got more body parts in Starship Troopers.
Right. Than you do in Texas Chain 1974.
You got more blood and guts in your average Rambo movie than you have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Is it scary? Yes. Yeah. Which is its job. It's a horror movie. Right. But is it a bloodbath? No. But you got some.
That's what makes it so brilliant is that there's not a lot of blood in Texas Chain 74.
No, but your imagination.
But it's the imagination.
Your imagination, because the acting of the intensity. Right. It's the movie is so insane, and you see the motions of the things that are going on. Your mind, when you talk about it and when you remember and recollecting it, you think you see more than what there was, and it truly is not a very bloody film. Is there moments of blood? Yes. But mostly towards the aftermath of the injuries. Even with the head injury, it was. I mean, you see some blood, but not as much as you think.
Right.
When you see the murder of
in my mind,
Franklin,
it was bloodier than. I remember it. Like when I was a kid, and I would think back to like in my teenage, I'm like, that's like the bloodiest movie I've ever seen. But when I go back, I'm like, there was no blood.
No, but the imagery though.
The imagery.
You don't even see any blood with Franklin. Really, the most blood you really see is
which is my favorite kill in the franchise. By the way,
the most blood you see is really probably caked on Sally at the end when she's sitting in the back of the pickup truck. It's like that was amazing. That's it, man. I mean.
Yeah. So the opening scene is when they pick up after you see all the body parts and everything. Yeah. I guess someone was playing and I think it was probably the hitchhiker, right? Nubbins was playing in the bodies, and then all of a sudden they pick him up for some reason, and
he was hitchhiking.
Yeah, he was hitchhiking. I guess that was a thing in the 70s.
Yeah, it made sense. I mean,
it was coming off the hippie era where it was cool to give someone a ride.
Right. So it made more sense back then than it would if they did a 2022 version.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or 2017 when they picked up that hitchhiker. I'm like, come on. Or 2013, I mean, sorry. But yeah, so when they pick him up and he's just creepy right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? And he was like...
Oh, he was unsettling, dude.
He was very unsettling immediately, but it wasn't like, kind of like, and I love Chop Top, but Chop Top was a little over the top. You know, no pun intended. But like, he was like
Nubbins was just fucked up,
right? Okay, so you're from New York, right? And you've been on the train, and you know that crazy person that's talking to themselves, or that crazy person that's on the train that's making everyone uncomfortable.
Yeah, you don't look at him,
and that's how you don't make eye contact with him.
Right.
And that's how Nubbins was. That's what was the brilliant of what was the actor that played Nubbins?
I forgot his name, and he's done some other things, and I'm having a senior moment right now, but. Right. His performance was so phenomenal and iconic.
Yeah, and it's just like so unsettling, so uncomfortable. And like, it's like I've seen crazy people on the train in New York or even like downtown San Diego that are like just wigging out, and you're like, damn, I don't want to make eye contact with this fool. Yep. And they picked him up, and he's talking about head cheese, and then he gets kind of mad, and then he's like, yo, here's my, I took a picture of you, $5, and they're like, nah.
That's my favorite scene, by the way, when he opens up his little tinfoil to burn it and then crumbs it up. I just thought that something about that scing just worked, and the way he was stuttering, like he was like couldn't get his words out, and he was like, it felt so real.
And he got his feelings hurt, and you felt that when he got his feelings hurt, you felt it wasn't over the top, like you guys hurt my feelings. It's like it was just like
real
in his fucking face.
I was gonna say, that was gonna be the original title, Head Cheese.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I like
Head
and I like that title
that
too.
Was
but
that was gonna be the original title.
Yeah, but he can't fuck with Texas Chainsaw. That is just What did you think on that opening scene? How would you looking at it back in the old days and then compared to now?
Well, you know what? I look at it as a like a filmmaker. And one thing I noticed about, and I'm sure it's been done a million times, but for 1974, the exposition, the way they dealt with the exposition was over the radio.
Oh.
Brilliant. Right? You don't have to waste time on a scene.
Right.
And I'm looking
at
it.
Talking about John Larroquette, the opening crawl? Is that what you mean?
No, I'm talking about on the radio. The band.
I know exactly what you're talking about. After when you hear the dig up the bodies, and then you hear the radio.
It's a natural way to.
And I think it cuts to that windmill. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a smart way, and I would guess a cheap way to do it. You don't need actors. You don't need a scene, a setup, light setup, whatever. I don't know if that factored in.
Right.
But like I said, unsettling would be the word for me. But how did they pull that shot off under the swing? When
I love that shot.
That was girl in the red shorts.
I think they call it Worm's Eye View.
That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
They go under the swing and follow behind her.
Right.
I thought that was.
I would have to imagine they had to put the camera on some sort of wheel track and just push it. I just love. I swing. Right.
Well, that scene is really interesting because there's a couple things going on there for me, and I'm gonna tie this in with a couple other films too. Like back in that era, I mean, we were in the 70s. horror was definitely in a change, a transition. And I'm pretty sure there was other films before Texas, but horror was now coming to our homes in a personal way. It was kind of attacking institutions that we took for granted. Right. For example, we'll never look at the beach the same way again after seeing Jaws.
Right.
You got to remember, before Jaws, the beach was Annette Funicello, Frankie Avalon.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Steven Spielberg takes that and turns it upside down on its head. Right. I think the same thing, with Halloween. Suburban neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You never think the great evil would be lurking. And because you walk down that's really quiet Cleaver-esque neighborhood.
Right. Last House on the Left by Wes Craven.
Same thing with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where you look at you see these little
Farmhouse was great.
Those kind of like those country type houses that are off the side of a road, surrounded by a bunch of grass. They were always kind of a welcoming place. Back in the age where it wasn't uncommon for someone to offer you some lemonade or something on a hot day. And Tobe Hooper completely turned it on its head. Now also too, like Mike said, that shot. Her back is really interesting because you see her bare back because it's about to be violated, right? And that's really interesting, because she's so vulnerable back there.
Right. Like we said in the first show that I've done with you, it's in my top 5 of all time, and it's one of my favorite movies just in general. So, and now Texas Chain, when I first part 2, just jump ahead to part 2. I wasn't a big fan at first because it didn't have the tone of Texas Chain 74. It wasn't until like maybe a second or third viewing is when I fell in love with it. And now I'm a big fan. I know Vito loves Texas Chain 2.
Fuck yeah, I do.
So are we officially on Texas 2 now?
Yes, sir. What you got?
Didn't take me 2 or 3 times. I loved it from the word jump.
Man.
It's batshit crazy, and that's what it was meant to be.
Right.
Tobe Hooper, to me, it's the second best out of the entire series.
Yep.
I mean, and if some people put it number 1, I could kind of understand. Just like if being a big Halloween fan, if someone said, "Well, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a scarier movie," I'm not going to argue with you. But Texas 2 was brilliant. I just showed it to this is what Golden Globus, Canon Pictures, who put it out. Yeah. It's just because you can't redo what he did in the first movie, and I think he realized that.
That's when we were saying that he had to change the tone. He had to change. He had to go left.
Tobe Hooper was by himself. Remember, Texas was also done by Kim Henkel.
Right.
He wasn't there in the second one. Tobe Hooper really latched on to the black humor of Texas 1 and really wanted to go full throttle on it at number 2. And again, what was interesting in number 2, it took him a little bit to only make it. It was also put out unrated as well too.
Right.
And that was and that's why it didn't. I don't know if that affected the sales or what it grossed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Overall, but it was one of the few films in modern times. And I say modern times, I'm talking about late '80s because it came out in '87, where it went out without a rating. Which
Texas Chain?
Yeah.
2? I don't remember because I remember seeing it in the video store and I'm like, why are they doing the Breakfast Club? You know what I'm saying? And then when I finally rented it, I fell in love with it. You know what I'm saying? Like in the second view.
That does sound familiar that it did come out unrated because it was pretty gory. I think that was Savini
Savini was at his absolute apex.
Yeah, that was apex
that
right
opening
there.
scene, and I was showing it this morning when he's cutting the car and the dude's head slides off. It's just so perfect.
But let's keep it 100 now. The MVP of that movie was Jim Seidow as Drayton Sawyer.
Yeah. Did I tell you that? The lines he drops.
Drayton had me rolling for it.
The lines that he drops.
What did he tell you? He said, "You bunch of fudge packers! I told you not to hit your brother."
No, when he goes, he chopped me in my ass real good. But he took care of my hands. I don't have to go to the hospital this month.
He said, helps the M's. He said, "Where's Nubbins?" Pardon my French. Where's that old fuck you, Charlie? Drayton Sawyer had he was, man, yeah.
You remember the early Popeyes where Popeyes said stuff, and it's like that's how Drayton remind me of Popeye. Just the lines you got to catch. You got to have
the side talk. The side
talk. Yeah.
What did he say when my boy Lefty Enright showed up? Boys, you're sitting down with you. He's like, are you from the national? What did he say? He was like, are you from the National Food Administration?
Yeah. He's like, is that a new health club? Yeah, a new health food. Yeah.
American businessman always gets it up there.
Don't you come into a man's house singing a song?
Texas too is
he stepped it up in 2 because 1 he was kind of doing that and you could see little hints of it.
He was more serious.
He was
sinister. He was scary the way he flipped it on her, and then he very sadistic.
Right when
he would hit her, you know what I mean?
And then he's poking at her while she's there in part 1. When he's driving her to the house,
like he got a kick out of it, you know what I mean? And then how he would treat Nubbins, when he got mad at him, kicking him like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just, here's what, you and I were talking about this too. Now, was he the father or was he the older brother?
No, the older brother. They talk about it in, well, I mean, it's not part of the, no, he says it. Okay, so never mind. Let me go back. Let me backtrack. So when he's tying up Stretch, and he's tying up Stretch, and he's like, I had to watch over my brothers, and it caused me to age earlier, and I would have wished this life on a ferret with one eye or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? It says it. He says it right there, and he talks about that they're his younger brothers.
Okay.
So I guess I assume the brother lineage is Drayton, Chop Top, Nubbins, and then Leatherface.
I thought Nubbins was older than Chop Top. We don't know. We don't know where Chop Top was. Though. We don't know.
Yeah, he was in Nam.
Yeah.
Okay, so he wasn't. Okay.
Yeah, he was at Nam at the time.
Now, were you guys? Did you guys grow up playing with Master of the Universe?
Of course.
Yeah.
Moss Man.
Did you know Moss Man was?
You pointed out.
Yeah, Moss Man was right there. Yeah. So no, I mean both of those.
Which is funny because that was the Canon Pictures, and you remember Canon went on to do the Master of the Universe.
Right.
I love Canon. On a side note.
Oh yeah.
Canon was like the greatest B movie studio ever because their shit was insane.
OG Gangsters, Golden Globus.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
OG Gangsters, old Golden Globus. I'm taking you seen Electric Boogaloo?
Oh, I fucking love that movie, dude.
Love that documentary, man. Sorry.
It was the greatest.
Cool.
You know what made them? And on a side note, what made them so awesome? They had a foreign idea what Hollywood should be, so their movies were kind of slightly off kilter. So it'd be like, what the fuck? But it made sense in the 80s, and for my age, we were like, fuck yeah, this rules.
Right. So Texas Chain is like to me what Trauma would have done with the franchise.
Texas Chain 2?
Yeah, Texas Chain 2, sorry. It just reminds me of a Trauma film.
I could see that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it just had that same energy.
With the colors and everything.
Toxic Avenger, the original.
If Trauma was more polished, and I love Trauma. I love Trauma, but
it's a total compliment.
Yeah. If it was if Trauma was more polished, yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that another thing about Texas Chain, I think their final girls are super slept on. Like, they don't get enough.
They're so hot.
They don't get enough love in when people bring up final girls.
Well,
and I think that Sally was gorgeous. Right. And I think Stretch is super sexy. And then we'll get to the other ones later on. But
yeah.
Love Stretch.
When we come to the 2022 one, I'll come back around to Sally Hardesty because, yeah, she is, like, look, not a lot of...
She kills it in those white jeans,
Not a lot of people, are into horror. I mean, well, I'm not going to say a lot, but you got people that just aren't into horror as much as we are. So most people on average probably think Laurie Strode is the original final girl, and she's not. Laurie Strode was awesome, but Sally Hardesty predated Laurie Strode by 4 years.
And she was a fighter and a survivor.
Well, I'll say she's a survivor. I wouldn't necessarily say she's a fighter.
The way she broke out of that house, you know what I'm saying? She
was a survivor. That's just
survival instincts. I guess you're right.
But
Stretch is more of a fighter than Sally was. Because Stretch is going blow to blow.
Yeah, Stretch fought back.
She's like banging on fucking Chop Top in the stairwell.
And she's taking those knife slashes to the back.
And took the knife slashes while she's getting the chainsaw. Yeah, so Stretch is...
This is... Now, I jokingly say this. I always say one of the things that made Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, so cool was because you had a good old-fashioned, scared out of her mind woman, and she would do anything to survive.
Right.
And that's what's really cool about it, because she was just trying to survive. She really wasn't trying to fight.
Right.
But, I mean, homegirl jumped straight through a glass window. I'd have done the same thing. Like,
and to build off what Corey said, too...
I was like, let me get out of here.
To build off what you said on that, she conveyed that so well that you felt her terror.
Yeah.
Like, her performance... made you scared.
Yes.
Because it was so real.
Yes. And
you felt that. It was the way the movie was edited.
Yeah.
If you look at how that movie was edited and her performance, that all built together to where you felt that terror.
The frenetic energy of that table scene in Texas 1, to jump back to Texas 1, can never be duplicated. A lot of movies have tried to get that same energy. It's impossible.
Well, it's because they're trying to recreate something where... Toby Hooper was already in his mind knowing how he wanted to hit it without any other thought.
Like the close-ups on the eyeball. It's just to this day, it just makes me unnerved.
Right. With the sound bites in there, and you just feel that the movie's about insanity.
Yes,
and it just
50 years old almost. Dude. Mm-hmm. The movie's almost fucking 50 years old. Dude.
It was innovated.
Yeah.
And it still works.
Yeah.
It still works.
Real quick on Franklin as being one of the first horror characters that I truly hated.
Your boy Franklin.
Like Franklin, Joey
from
Friday the 13th Part 5.
What's his name?
And old girl from Halloween Part 5. Those are my trial.
I love Tina.
Tina's
Tina's the worst, bro.
Yeah, right.
You're a Tina fan? Thank you.
You know, again, it goes back to the
And
actress
Franklin, dude,
that
I
conveyed it
just-
so well.
No, Franklin's just the biggest. I was so happy when Franklin died.
Right.
Even at
You're a
10.
dick.
Yo, Franklin was
Dude
a
was
piece
in a
of shit.
fucking wheelchair.
Well, don't take it on at everybody else. What do you want me to do, bro?
Dude, that guy had a hard life, and
Dude,
first of
what
all,
was-
he
what-
had to go pee, and he fell off his wheelchair. Then he gets hacked up. He gets cut by the hitchhiker.
He didn't want to go to begin with, so I feel bad about that. I know.
Oh,
how
that's
it
the
is
only thing
to-
you felt bad about?
Yeah.
You didn't feel bad how he got gutted?
No.
You're a dick.
Yo, he was. Yo, I don't know what was Toby. I don't know if it was a '70s thing. The Toby's fascination with what is it called? Raspberries. Like, what is his? He did so many raspberries. Like, come on, Franklin, you have a good time.
Some people do
And then,
raspberries.
like,
They
you
just
know,
made it
like,
real.
I was
Just-
like, I never want to see
right.
raspberries ever again. Was that a '70s thing?
It was a Franklin
I
thing.
don't know. I mean,
Well, no,
I-
because even Nubbins later on does raspberries to the cook, and he's like, and he does it and shit.
I had to agree with Vito though. I didn't want to see Franklin.
No,
You know,
Franklin had to go. bro.
I
Franklin
felt,
had to get it,
I
brother.
felt bad for Franklin. That was a hard way to go out, man.
Yeah, you know,
Oh,
you
and
know
that
what's-
scene, dude. There's no music, no nothing.
I know.
He just pops up.
Flash
son.
like,
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the most terrifying thing.
That was-
where
yeah.
the score doesn't tell you how to feel.
Right.
No, but
Right,
they hear
you
something
know
in the
what I mean?
background, and you're like, "What the fuck are you hearing?" Because they heard something. Because they
Yes.
were like,
Sure.
He's like, slow down, Taylor.
Right.
"Yeah," and,
Well,
and you hear something, and you're like, "Is that dead moment of silence?" And here he pops up, and he's like, "Ah," you know.
Yeah.
Yo, how did?
But what capitalized on what Mike said too. Even the score is unsettling. The original.
Sure.
Dan, 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 dan. It's-
Yeah, that iron or whatever.
Yeah, it's
that
more like
scraping.
noise than
That's
actually
all this
music.
was,
Yes.
and it conveys insanity.
Yeah, it's trying to
You're
it's trying to
you're
get on your
just hearing
nerves.
the
Oh,
noise.
sorry.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's
No, I love it. I mean, it's
Even though I do like part two. Dan, 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 dan. That's so
Right, right.
cool.
that opening scene, dude, with the yuppies, dude. I still love that.
Yeah,
to
and
this
that's
day.
cool,
That
but
was
that's a
great
different
scene.
take. I mean, I know
Totally
that was
different
before
take.
all the others, but
Yeah.
it wasn't 4 people in a van. You know, it was just
Right.
these 2
Well,
cats. You know,
yeah,
it was
my
just-
favorite
remember,
ones-
it took place in the 80s too, so it was attacking.
Right.
I mean, it was
Yuppies.
probably the first movie to kind of attack yuppie culture. And then like
Right.
a year later, we got RoboCop, which totally attacked yuppie culture.
Right, right.
So,
So
Yeah, no, Texas Chain 2 is brilliant. Now, Texas 3, I didn't see it